It's Thursday on Geeks of the Week. I'm Mario, and I speak for the geeks. That's a Lorax reference. I am skewing young. So this week, I'm going to reply to my fellow geeks, get to Comic Book 101, and finally, comic book review. So on to the video. First, I'm going to reply to Steph. I didn't review Avengers vs. X-Men issue 1 because I haven't been to my comic book shop in about 2 weeks. I've been very busy. But I am going later today to pick up a huge stack. My weekend will consist of nothing but reading comics. And I say that so happily because that's my life. It's lame, I know, don't judge me. With that said, I did pick up Avengers vs. X-Men issue 0 before I stopped going, and I do agree with your review. I am surprised you didn't mention what a jerk the Vision was being with his fake tears and bad acting. That was some soap opera acting right there. The Vision can't act. He needs some sort of acting program. Now, moving on to Nikki. Last week she was attacked by Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn, and I will avenge you. Only that they're kind of formidable villains. So maybe I'll let Batman handle that. But let's say some sort of different type of villain were to attack you, like Calendar Man. I would totally be all over that. And they say Chivalry is dead. Or maybe they just wish it. Next, in response to Steph's question, Avengers vs. X-Men, I'm going with the X-Men. I like rooting for the underdog. And even though Scott's lineup of X-Men right now is probably the most powerful X-Men that have ever been assembled, I can't bet against any team being led by Cap. I just can't. While we're on the subject, if you guys want an Avenger fix, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon returned 2 weeks ago. It's on Disney XD on Sundays. You should totally check it out. It is hands down the best superhero cartoon out there right now. You should be watching it. Finally, to Luluco, I agree with you on fandoms. People should have more of an open mind. I am totally down on any dragon thing. I'm not House Targaryen, but I like dragons. That was a Game of Thrones reference. That's how much of a geek I am. Also, last week, she kind of asked tips on how to get into comic books, and I decided that'd be a good video. So, class is in session starting now. Oh, welcome to Comic Book 101. I'm Professor Mario, and I already have one on top of Professor X since I'm not bald. So you want to get into the wonderful world of comics. The first issue I will tackle is what level of involvement you like to have in it. If you want to be a weekly comic book buyer, then you need the time and the funds. If you have that, you're basically set. My advice to you then is to look up for creative teams, artists and writers you might enjoy. Money is important because it is costly, but so is time. You want to stay on top of new releases or you might miss out on an issue for your collection. Now let's say you don't have the time or money to support another geeky obsession, but you still want to get into comics. Then the trade paperback is the route for you. You can pick it up at your own leisure without having to worry if a particular issue is going to sell out, and most importantly, it's cost efficient. You can find them at your local library or used online. They're a lot cheaper. Now let's say you still want to try single issues. My advice then is to only pick up 1 or 2 titles a month. That way the time and the money is manageable. Next, I will discuss how to best jump into current storylines. Superman and Batman have been around for 70 years. Spider-Man and the X-Men for 50. So with such a long history and so many storylines, how does a new reader best approach entering this world? The best advice I could give is accept things on face value. When I first started reading Batman, I only knew the basics. Parents died, he's on a crusade to stop crime. As I continued to read Batman comics, they will make references to old storylines. For example, The Killing Joke. And even though I already knew one of the things that happened in The Killing Joke, I tracked it down and read it and still enjoyed it. The point is, I didn't need to know the entire history of Batman's past, or even the current status of his world to be drawn into and start to enjoy the comic. You start to pick things up as you go along. With that said, these heroes have been around for such a long time that sometimes they need to be rebooted. DC currently did a soft reboot of their world to attract new readers. I say a soft reboot because in Batgirl, The Killing Joke is still referenced. And this part can be confusing to new readers. What's in continuity? What's in play? What is it? And I will admit it can be problematic. But as I said, accept things on face value and you will pick things up as you go along. The most important thing to remember about reading the major characters in Marvel or DC is in a way all their stories are open-ended. There'll never be a point where you'll read the last ever issue of Batman. His story will continue. These characters have been around for a long time. Because of that, you shouldn't have to worry about reading every single back issue or the years of continuity. A comic book arc should stand on its own merits. You should jump right into the start of an arc and see if you enjoy it. Now that I've discussed the best way to get into superhero comics, let me say this. There's more to comics than just the superheroes. Right now, the independent circuit's doing some of the best work out there. And if there's a particular story you like, there's probably a comic book out there for you. And it varies in genres: science fiction, fantasy, noir. Some of the best comic books right now is Lock and Key, Criminal, Chew. And all these comics are recently new, so if you want to start from the beginning, you can, and not have to worry about years of continuity. Their comic books right now is putting out some of the best work in any medium. Television, movies, books, they're doing excellent work. So if you sat through this entire ramble, that means you've passed Comic Book 101. Congratulations. Now go forth and read comics. So Stanley writteth, so it shall be. And now onto the comic book review. In every generation there's a chosen one, and in the future it is Fray, the Vampire Slayer, written by Josh Whedon and art by Carl Maloney. And in the distant future, magic has been eradicated, vampires are known as slurs and seen more as genetic mutations, and the Slayer line has ended. Until once again the Slayer is called upon to battle the forces of evil. Her name is Malika Fray. Fray's life is already an exciting one. She's well known as a grabber, or a thief, but one that steals high quality items. She's being mentored by a demon because the Watchers Council has lost its freaking mind. She's sharp, witty, intelligent, and has an edge to her. Carl Maloney's artwork is easy to follow and enjoyable. He really sets up this world and gives Fray a very unique look. Josh Whedon actually wrote this comic book. Yes, he writes comics. Why? Because he's obviously trying to run to be the king of the geeks. His writing style absolutely shows. I don't think anybody writes a more strong female character than Whedon. The plot twist, the sense of humor, it's all in here. It's all Whedon-esque. I absolutely recommend this book. It's about $13 on Amazon. It's 8 issues, so it's very long, so bang for your buck. This is an excellent addition to the Slayer mythos, and I'm very, very protective when it comes to that. I ultimately rate this book a 4.5 stars. Okay, that's it for me this week. I had a request to review Batman Hush, and I will get to that, but this video was already running long again. So let me know what you guys think of Comic Book 101. If you have any follow-up questions, write it in the comment. Let me know, and I will get back to you right away. I hope you guys found it helpful. With that said, check out the other more awesome geeks of the week. As always, comment and subscribe, and I will be back next week.